What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. We've got more Mercado news to talk about. We got to talk about Aaron Ramsey's situation. We got Morata, who's staying, who's leaving. You know, all that good stuff we talk about every time. Plus, we got to talk about this whole mess of the situation with the Napoli match coming up potentially tomorrow. We'll see how this pans out. Stick with us. We'll fill you in now. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today, it is Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. I'm going to still need to get used to saying 2022. I'm so used to saying 2021 on this channel. Anyway, before we do anything, go ahead and make sure you smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. What are you doing watching these videos without being subscribed to the channel? Join the community that we have here, so hit that subscribe button now. And then also hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way as well. If you want to follow us on our social media, the Bianconeri Zone is at Bianconeri Zone on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. As well as if you want to follow my personal account, it is at Justin Sofro on Twitter as well. Let's go ahead and just dive into the news that we have for you today. All right, the very first one we got to talk about, let's just get this out of the way now. I want to be clear. When it comes to the Mercado news, like I said, it's a roller coaster each and every time. It's a roller coaster, ups and downs, and will they go or will they stay? These are some pretty decisive words from Max Allegri. Before I jump into it, that's what I want to put out there. But I also want to say it don't always mean everything. It goes along with what I believe here personally, but at the same time, it doesn't mean everything. All right. Max Allegri had a press conference. This is some of the comments he made about Alvaro Morata and the whole situation there. I'll comment some more after I get through them. First off, he said, I told Alvaro, you're not moving from here. He stays. No more talk. Morata's problem is that he's being mislabeled, but he's very important. I've spoken to him and told him that he won't move from here. That's the end of it. So some pretty decisive words from Max Allegri. I do believe that this will probably be what happens at the end. But also, let's be clear, we have seen this happen before where coaches make broad statements, they say, or pretty concrete statements saying, this is what's going to happen, this is what we're moving forward with. And the next thing you know, the club makes a different move and ends up buying a player, selling a player, whatever have you. Somebody comes in. I think what he's saying that he's being mislabeled, I don't know exactly what he means with that term, but what I take it as is maybe he's talking about how Juventus are just kind of done with him after the season ends. He's not going to be here anymore. I think maybe he's being mislabeled as being a poor player, being, all the negative stuff that comes along with him. I think that's a little bit unfair to him overall. But as it stands right now, it seems now that Allegri is going to keep Morata. He said 100%, so I'll have to go along with that, but we'll see how that develops. Next up, we got to talk about some more comments Max Allegri made. This is Allegri to DiMarzio and Sport Italia as well. He said Ramsey is on his way out. Pretty clear, pretty decisive. To go along with that, DiMarzio reported saying that Burnley made an offer for Ramsey, but Aaron refused it. Because, of course, that's what Aaron Ramsey does. I guess he has maybe plans for to go somewhere else. I don't know. And then also, Sport Italia are saying that Newcastle are planning a move for Ramsey. So maybe that's where Ramsey really wants to go. We know Newcastle has more money now thanks to their new ownership and all that goes along with them. I know that they still don't want to pay the exact amount of wages that he makes at Juventus. So we'll see if he ends up coming up with some kind of solution to end up going there. I know Juventus is going to have to bend a knee of sorts to try to get him out, but it is what it is at this point. So we'll see. We'll monitor that situation as it stands, but hopefully by the end of January, Aaron Ramsey will no longer be wearing a Juventus shirt. Let's move on. Now we got to talk about Napoli, and this is really the whole mess that's going on with this. It's funny. Literally a year ago, we're in the same exact situation with Napoli and Juventus playing. Of course, we went there at the beginning of the season. Everything was fine, of course. I mean, I understand. Some things happened over the holiday, over the Christmas break, whatever you want to call it, where, families got together, people started intermingling that you don't have whatever, and then the Decepticon variant comes in. It really affects everybody and just starts spreading and whatever. Leave the politics out of it and what you personally believe about the Decepticon variant. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. Well, actually, we've seen how it goes. But now it looks like De Laurentiis wants out of playing Juventus right now. He wants to postpone it because he thinks the situation isn't right for him. You know, it would have been interesting if maybe Juventus would have done the same thing. Actually, let me read this, and I'm going to go on my tangent first. Ends up saying De Laurentiis has asked for the postponement of the game and that all of Serie A match day 20 games because of the many positive cases, really just trying to get out of playing Juventus right away. We'll see how it plays out, but it's just funny. Of course, against Juventus, of course, he has to cause problems. Of course, when things aren't in his favor, he wants to not play the match. Of course, Juventus, yeah, I understand it's a very different situation, not involving the Rony Roan. But when it came to this before, you know, losing Ronaldo right before, having a new team, trying to restructure things, Juventus just still play the damn game, and that's what Juventus does. Juventus goes out, and that's what you do as a competitor. You go play the damn game with the pieces that you have. De Laurentiis, though, of course, wants everything accommodated to him. He wants you to change this. He wants you to change the rule over here. He wants whatever happens that he can do to happen to make the game come to him and make a win more easy for him. He wants to do that. But if he has to go to play at your place with, you know, a couple players missing, it's all hell breaks loose. It's over. I'm not doing this. Take my ball and I'm going home. So anyway, it's De Laurentiis. He's a piece of crap human being. That's where I want to leave it. I just don't like him. I'm being clear. I'm just being clear. I'm going to be honest. I don't like De Laurentiis at all. As it stands, though, but I understand with some positive cases. Maybe you want to cut it down a little bit. Juventus are going to be out with a few players right now. Pinzolio. That's a big loss for Juventus. How are we supposed to play without Pinzolio? And, of course, Chiellini as well. Anyway. Let's move on, though, to further topics that we have here for the day. And that's Max Allegri also speaking with Juventus TV. He had some big comments. Pre-Napoli press conference, if you will. Basically saying that Bonucci is out tomorrow and Sunday for sure. Let's see for the Supercopa. Danilo will be back next week. Big blow for Juventus if we know anything. As it stands right now, the center back room is depleted. Again, Juventus wants to play Thursday, and they have issues of their own. Bonucci and Chiellini and all their center backs are all gone, and we're stuck with playing Rugani, who is literally my, like I said, I just don't want to see Rugani out there. I'll be honest, I gave him his credit last 2 games, but I still don't want to see him out there. All right, goes on to say, we worked well, we needed these days. We have recovered both Chiesa and Dybala. Thank you. Finally, Chiesa and Dybala can be back. We'll see how long Dybala is actually back for, given his current circumstances. But also, hopefully Chiesa can look like the Chiesa of old, the Chiesa of last year, the Chiesa that actually can score some goals. Please bring that back. We need it right now. And continuing on, he says, I have 2 center backs and 3 fullbacks available. I will evaluate and decide tomorrow as who will play up front. So it'll be interesting to see how he ends up working this out. Obviously, you've got Pellegrini, Alexandro, you've got Daniele Rugani, then you've got, of course, De Ligt, who's the one stalwart that you really trust here. Luca Pellegrini's would look pretty good lately as well. We'll see how else he ends up playing that out and who he ends up plugging into the different positions for these matches. We'll see. But this is really a situation where if that Napoli game gets played, you can't lose it. You got to win this game. You got to come away with a victory against Napoli. Just given the situation, given everything that goes along with this, these are 3 dire points, especially when they're missing all of these players. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's a long list of players for various different reasons. You get those 3 points. All right, let's move it on to the second part of this. That's Max Allegri with more comments to Juventus TV, saying, during these days, we've been concentrating on the physical and technical side. We'll be ready for these 6 January games, which are crucial. Not really a lot to go off there, a lot of coach speak, but yeah, January is a must win. You must win. You must get more points than you drop when it comes to this month. If you don't do that, basically kiss top 4 goodbye. Obviously, kiss the championship goodbye. I still think Inter really are the favorites to win that. But as it stands right now, kiss. Why am I saying kiss like that? Kiss the top 4 goodbye if you can't do something in this month. Obviously, there's one thing I know a lot of people, and we're guilty of it here as well, of being like, the season's over, season's done. That's how we are as fans. I think it's easy to overreact to a point, but also to be realistic when it comes to how your team is playing. But at the same time, there's been so many little things. I'm not willing to say it now at this point. Even if Juventus, if they lose out, then yeah, I'll say it. But if they drop more points than I was hoping for this month, was hoping, not would hoping, was hoping for this month, and I'll still be a little bit reserved because I've seen so many things happen as of recently. There's so many Serie A teams that are willing to bumble their way at the end that maybe leave some room for Juventus to end up coming back. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Anyway, going on with what Allegri said, he said, during these days, we've been concentrating on the physical and technical side. We'll be ready for these 6 January games. Oh, yeah, I already read that. Moving on to the second part. Tomorrow's game is a matter for the relevant government bodies to decide. We can only play with those who are there. It's a state of emergency, and we need to find solutions. Again, being pretty, my hands are clean of this. The hands are washed. It's up to the government bodies. If we play, we play. We're mentally focused on playing tomorrow, and that's all we're thinking about. The other dynamics are not my responsibility. We just have to prepare for a very difficult game. Again, what do you want him to say? There's not much else you can really expect Allegri to say in this situation. I agree with him, and hopefully that means that Juventus will go out there and end up getting some much-needed points, and he understands the dire situation of how important it is to win these matches here in the coming days. Then finally, a couple more comments he made at Juventus TV, saying Inter are the favorite team to win the Scudetto, but clear favorites. Only they can lose the Scudetto. So, kind of agreeing with what I was saying. I think right now, as the way it stands, Inter are in the best position moving forward, especially given the players that they have and that kind of cohesion continuing on from last season. So they should be, all the pressure should be on Inter. We'll see if they drop points down the line. He goes on to say the attack has scored goals. The midfield goals are missing. January signings have little impact. The return of Chiesa and Dybala will help us a lot. I agree to a point of what he's saying. I mean, definitely about Chiesa and Dybala coming back will be helpful. I agree to a point that January signings have little impact because usually those are not the big signings. Those are not the guys that are world beaters. But this is a Mercado, and this is a midfield that could use some help. I think there are pieces out there that you could potentially find that would really help Juventus' situation. Will they? I don't think so at this point. But at the same time, I do want to be clear that I think there are many pieces that could be very helpful that you could get in January. But maybe with the amount of money Juventus has and they're willing to spend at this time, as well as sales you have to make, then maybe that's a fair observation from Allegri. And then finally, the last bit of news that we have for you today is news regarding Rudiger. Di Marzio is reporting saying Juventus are not the favorites to sign Rudiger because of their new transfer policy, wages, but they are in the race. And as it stands, also, I think Romeo Gresti basically made a comment saying that it's like not really going to happen. And it's not really, it's not fake news, but it's kind of a, it's kind of a nonsense story. Forget about it. Let's move on. And I kind of agree with that as well. Rudiger more than likely will not be a Juventus player. If there's anything I've learned, if it says that Juventus are just kind of in the race, but they're not favorites, in the last few years, it hasn't seemed that Juventus is going to stick around in that race if that is the case for that situation, especially given the amount of money that they're not willing to pay currently. So let me know, do you want to see Rudiger play for Juventus, or do you not really care? What are your thoughts when it comes to that matter? As well as let me know about all the topics we talked about today. Of course, Aaron Ramsey. We're always talking about Aaron Ramsey and the Morata situation. Are you kind of put down, or like, is it dampen your mood about Juventus this season going forward, that it looks more than likely, kind of like what we've been saying for months, so, but at the same time, that, yeah, more than likely, there's nothing that's going to happen when it comes to this Mercado. Besides sales, Juventus are not really going to bring anybody in to help anything. Maybe that could be positive for the long run, especially when you're looking at guys that you want to get like Vlahovic, even though yesterday it seemed more and more likely that Scamacca is that guy that they're going for in June. Maybe a little bit. I'll be honest, I'll have to say this right now. If you made it this far in the video, I'll say this right now. I will be very depressed coming June, especially after last summer when the whole Ronaldo crap went through and they said, next summer, you'll be able to sign a big name. You'll be able to sign a big name in the striker room. And then we come here and we get Scamacca. Like, that ain't a big name, my guy. That's not it. That's not doing it for me. That's not making me excited. That's not making me hopeful for the future. I like Scamacca, but not as the, like, penultimate. That's not even right. Penultimate means second ultimate. And the ultimate striker for Juventus. No. That's no. Like, that doesn't do it for me. That doesn't get my, my juices flowing, if you will. So that's the way I feel currently. We'll be a little bit, I don't want to say depressed, but you know what I mean? A little bit, unhappy that that's who they're going for and not a big name. We throw out names like Haaland, obviously, which is always a long stretch, but at the same time, but Vlahovic should have been the guy and hopefully still will be the guy. And if you don't end up getting a Vlahovic, Whew, oh boy, we'll see how the season goes, especially when it comes to having a high-powered offense, which Juventus will not have, especially under the likes of Max Allegri, who is so defensive-oriented. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about that, as well as the whole Napoli situation going on with the garbage man, De Laurentiis. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next time. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri.